What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge, and we have a special treat tonight. My friend Adam Godfrey joins us to talk about his first EM renovation. Adam, how are you?
Hello. It's nice to be on the show. I am wonderful. Just before we started recording, I was telling Nick how for the first time in quite some time I was able to get a little bit of sleep. I have a newborn, and so I am refreshed. I am on the most continuous sleep that I've had in months. So I am great.
Well, I appreciate you taking that time just for the show. That's very nice of you. Yes,
I'm happy. Well, no, I'm happy to do it. I could, as all of us obsessed people can be, I will talk pinball every day, all day long, if I could. I'm still trying to figure out a way to make money off of it instead of lose money. But hey, you can't win them all.
Well, that's true. That's why it's a hobby and not a job, right?
That's true. That and then if it became a job, then I would probably hate it. So, yeah.
You got it. Yeah. So, Grand Prix was your first EM, correct?
Yep. The Grand Prix was my first EM. I definitely had a couple near misses. Right when I was buying my first pinball machine, I looked at a teacher's pet and a ding dong, which are still on my radar. I still know the barn where they live, protected, very safe and dry. It's the first one that came to my possession. Grand Prix was at 1976, I think. Mm-hmm. So.
And Teacher's Pet is an excellent game, by the way.
Oh, I am super excited. I'm on a buying freeze, which some people may or may not know. But my wife and I put me on a buying freeze for a year. So, come August 2016, Teacher's Pet is mine.
Excellent.
And I'm excited too that I got to try out my EM skills on the Grand Prix, because it's definitely going to Teacher's Pet is definitely going to need a little bit of love. I didn't get an opportunity to really dig into it, but I know that the score reels were like all whopper jawed.
Yeah.
So at least that much, I know. So anyway,
Well, I think you'll find that Teacher's Pet is quite a bit easier to work on than Grand Prix.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I got it, the first thing that you said when I contacted you about it, you're like, well, actually, it might have been you or somebody else. I don't know, but it was just saying that like Grand Prix is probably the worst one to work on because it's so late in the game. So late in the EM game that there are like so many steppers, there's so much going on. It's like the most complicated, maybe not the most complicated, definitely not as complicated as a bingo, that's for darn sure. But it's one of the more complicated EMs from what I understand. I'm by no means an expert.
Yeah, the late model EMs did have a lot more stuff. I mean, they used every inch of the cabinet and playfield.
It is full.
Everything.
It is full. Yeah. The bottom of the cabinet is definitely full with. Oh gosh, I don't even know. Countless relays.
My contention is always that the same basic idea is the same. You might not be playing the game 100% as quickly as you would with a earlier game, but
right.
It's part of it's the journey and part of it's the destination, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I was going to say, not to derail, because this conversation is about Grand Prix, not to derail it, but I am excited about Teacher's Pet and Ding Dong for that matter because they are single player, and I hear that single player machines tend to be more complex than the multiplayer games. That's what I've heard.
Well, it depends on the game, of course. So
right.
Ding Dong is fairly simple. You're trying to make words. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot different than Grand Prix. Grand Prix has bonus to worry about, and you've got the multiplayer aspect, and of course things reset, but it just depends on the title.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So it seems like Teacher's Pet is the better investment, is what you're saying.
If I had to pick between the two, that's the one I'd pick.
Well, good, because that's the one I'm going to get both of them, fix both of them up, and then find a home for Ding Dong. And Teacher's Pet is the one I'm going to keep. So,
well, definitely play Ding Dong a bit and see what you like, because Yeah, that's just my preference, but
sure. But I trust your preference. That's the thing. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you. So tell me a bit. How did you come into possession of this Grand Prix?
Sure. So as you know, the word got out that I was a pinball fiend, and my cousin-in-law, his mom had had this Grand Prix in the basement, and so I think it was like once he found out. No, it was once she found out that I really my father-in-law was talking to her about this. And she was like, "Oh yeah, that thing's been in the basement for 10 years or 15 years or whatever, and it needs some work or whatever." It's like, yeah, he can just have it. So I remember hearing that, and then I was like, okay, but then I got really busy, and then before I knew it, my cousin picked it up, and it was at his house, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's fine. I mean, technically it was your mom's, so you have more say over it than me. I said, well, if you need help fixing it up. Just give me a call. And then one day out of the blue, I get this call, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to bring that Grand Prix over so you can fix it up, and then just let me know what what I owe you." And then I started as I started fixing it up, and I was like talking to him more and more, and I don't know if he wants it back, but I'm not necessarily in any sort of hurry to give it back to him. And I have emailed him and called him and said, "Hey, it's ready, but there's no rush, and if you ever are looking for a home for it, I'd love to keep it around." So yeah. So it is mine as long as it's mine until he takes it over my cold dead body. According to my wife, according to my wife, because this came hot on the heels of this buying freeze, and so according to my wife, it's like, well, no, he wants it. It's like, no, he doesn't want it. If he wanted it, he would have called me back. So I don't know. We'll see. So it may be part of my permanent collection. It may not, but I have a feeling that even if he does take it back, it'll find its way back here, because I have definitely fallen in love with that game. It is so much fun, and I mean I like it because I feel like I'm doing much better than I probably am, because the scoring on that game is like ridiculous. It's so easy to roll it over. At least mine, the way I have it set it up, it's pretty easy to roll it over, and so I just feel like, man, I'm doing really well. So,
yeah, those games with bonus collect are pretty great.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you run it up, you collect it, run it up, collect it. Yeah, it's great. But,
let's talk about gameplay for a minute. So what do you enjoy about it?
Sure. I love the spinners. The two spinners are great. It's great because it's got two spinners, one on it's got an orbit, but it's only like a one-way orbit, where you got a spinner on the left, spinner on the right, and you hit it up the orbit, and then it ends up getting blocked by a one-way gate. And then it's got a center kick out hole that you can drop it in for I think like one or two. It's like maybe 2 or 3 bonus levels. It'll bump up the bonus levels. So that's nice because it kind of has that orbit. I know it might be sacrilege, but I've thought about taking those gates out just to see what would happen, like what the gameplay would be like, and if like you could really get the spinners going. Because it's a mirror image. On the left you have your spinner, on the right you have your other spinner, and if I take those gates out, I might really be able to just build that bonus up. However, I do like having the bonus hole in the middle. So I may not do that. Well, I may not. In fact, I won't. But
I will say that I think that machine will tilt if you take out the left ball gate and shoot from the plunge.
Oh.
If it hits the spinner first, I believe that game will tilt.
Interesting. So it's got it has to hit. So wait. So what if it? So it has to hit like at least the pops or something.
It has to hit a particular set of switches, if I recall correctly, or maybe I'm thinking of a runway switch, which is up above the spinner. But regardless, if it hits something on that left-hand orbit first, it will tilt.
Well, wait to rain on my parade. Thank you so much. My goodness, the parade has been called off. Never mind.
Well,
I'm out of here.
You could remove the right-hand gate, though, and then every left orbit shot would just feed back.
Yeah. Well, then, see, but that I do like game purity, and I guess it would be more out of curiosity,
right?
To see what it'd be like. But in the end, I probably would just be like, I'm not even going to risk damaging it. So I'm just going to do. I'll do it probably like a theater of the mind thing. Just like dream. Some night when I'm going to bed, I'll just dream about what it would be like.
Yeah.
So I love the spinners. I mean, ripping a spinner is just so much fun. And then, like I said, at the top, you got your kickout hole, and then it comes down to a set of 3. It's like a pop bumper cluster, 3 pop bumper cluster, pretty traditional there. And then just to the upper playfield, very near the pop bumpers, you got your 2 drop targets up there. Mm-hmm. And then down in the center, if I remember correctly, in the center, below the drop targets, you have two more. Below the pop bumpers, you have 2 more drop targets. So you have 4 drop targets, 3 pop bumpers, 2 spinners, partridge in a pear tree. And then the best part is on the mid left and mid right, you have your bonus collect. And your spinners run up the bonus. Once you get it run up all the way, I believe it lights the spinner for 1,000. Mm-hmm. And it's 1,000 spins. So then, you can run it all the way up, and then you can drop it into one of the kickout holes and cash in the bonus. It will award you, it'll tell you, like on the playfield, there is a light that will tell you whether it's going to award you the left bonus or the right bonus. There's 2 separate bonuses. You can run both of them up depending, with the left spinner or the right spinner. So when I'm playing, what I try to do is obviously cash in the one that is not going to be awarded to me at the end of my ball. But then, I always end up cashing it in anyways, and then I drain immediately, and so. See what else do I like? Yeah, I mean, it's a Steve Kordick game, but it might as well be a Steve Ritchie game. It's got a lot of flow to it.
There's a lot of feeds back to the flipper, and
which is nice. I mean, for an EM to have that much or that kind of flow, it's refreshing. Because normally your ball is in such peril on many other EMs, and that's just nice. Where that's a pretty, it's the most lucrative shot in the game, and it's probably one of the safest. That said, the thing that gets me all the time on Grand Prix is the open-ended lanes in lane. On the left and the right, it's got, what is it called, like a bally. Oh, what do you call it? Where there's like a hole in the in-lane rail where you can juke it back in.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is that called, a bally something, or
they used it frequently? I don't know what it's called, though.
Yeah, I see, but on ballies it's nice because they'll put a post there with a rubber, so you can bounce it off the rubber into the hole. But then on this, I've really only been able to do it once, and that was before, and that was like when I had the tilt bob out, because I was replacing it, and I was able to get it in there, and then right when I put the tilt bob back in, it was like there's no way to get back in. So more frequently, I will trap up, and the ball will roll up the flipper, up. And just dump out the end of it just dumps right out. So that's probably my least my most frustrating thing about the game is that your ball will pretty frequently dump out, and it doesn't reward stopping the ball and trapping up and aiming for a shot. You very much just have to shoot on the fly, because if you try to trap up, it's gonna bite you.
Yep,
and it's gonna bite you hard.
Now, do you have your game set to give extra balls for a certain number of stars, or have you disabled extra balls? Or
Nope, I have so I have extra balls turned on right now. I want to I've been thinking about entering it, or using it for League, and so I'm going to turn extra balls off, but it's not even turn extra balls off, it's like unplug the extra balls.
Right.
Which I love. I love it. So in the back box, for anybody who haven't had the pleasure of setting an adjustment in an EM, there's just it's like an old-time phone board. Both for the you can set that's where you set your ball number. You can set where your scoring thresholds are for extra balls, and you can also set it for either credit or extra ball. And it's just you pop in a little hole, and then it does its thing. So I still have it set like crazy easy for it's got like 5 scoring thresholds, and not that that's the thing. Not that you need it. I mean,
right.
On what but because I don't know, I had it set that way for I had a pinball party a couple months ago, and so for all the kids, so that way they could play a little bit longer. 5 balls wasn't enough for them. They wanted more, which I don't know. I didn't see an option for 10 balls on there. I think there was only a 3 ball and a 5 ball slot. So
right.
So I just gave them as many balls as they wanted to.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So how has the reception been with kids?
They love it. They love it because it's cool. I mean, yeah. So far they've loved it because of the bells. I mean, I think that's really what attracts them the most. Is it's like super loud, because I have most of my games turned down. Which is a remnant of before I moved in, we built this room. We have a little game room that we built out. It was in the middle of our family room, and so I have all my games like on the lowest setting possible. And I just haven't turned them back up yet. So all the games are like pretty low, and then and then I refurbished a chime box off of a Gulfstream. Mm-hmm. And got everything tuned up, put new new sleeves on the it was new sleeves on the coils, and there was I put new rubber gaskets and new I don't know, I did all the new pieces parts, so it was very 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 crisp ping on the chimes. So yeah, they like it because it's for even as fast as it is, it's still a lot slower than the other games. You have a little bit more time to think about it because it's set to 4 degrees or something like that. So it's the incline's a little less, so it's a little slower, and
part of that's the wide open playfield too.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, there's so far, the children like it.
Excellent. And so let's talk a bit about what you had to do to get it going.
Yeah. Okay. So when I got it, let me think. Thinking back, I'm using the Wayback Machine. When I got it, it was having like a weird starting problem, where I'm actually going to pull up the thread that I have on Pinside. I have a thread on Pinside that documented my trials and tribulations called "Start Your Engines: Williams Grand Prix Project." Mm-hmm. And I can't. It was something to do with the coin mech. Oh gosh, what was it? I think that my cousin had messed around with it and was trying. Thought through somehow the credit. Okay, here's what it was. The game wasn't starting because it wouldn't credit up. And then I think it was having, and I think the other issue was the interlock relay, or the game over relay or something, wasn't actuating. Mm-hmm. So it was 2 things, because he was having trouble putting credits on it, and so he started messing around, and there's the credit stepper that got turned too far, so it wasn't going back. It wasn't resetting, or it wasn't actuating. In addition to that, there was something funky going on with the coin switch in the door, and then also the game over relay wasn't actuating. So there was 3 different things that I had to track down. And in learning all this, it's funny because I was no, I just listened to your podcast, but I was listening to I was listening to the most recent EM Dungeon on Spooky Pinball.
Yes.
And James was saying that it was funny how so many people who will dive into the solid state repair just get so freaked out by EM repair, and it's just like they just don't want anything to do with it. And I'm here to say, all you solid state repairmen out there and women, EMs are significant. I found EMs once you look at a schematic, once you learn how to read a schematic, and even then you don't necessarily have to learn how to read a schematic, but it's great because all it is just switches. It's just a ton of switches and relays, which are just stacks of switches controlled by a solenoid. So if you get really good at polishing switch switch contacts and adjusting switches. And what else do you have to do? Yeah, basically, it's mostly just about cleaning switch contacts and adjusting switches. That's like the biggest. That was my takeaway. That if you're good at that, you can fix an EM.
That's exactly right. And you can parlay that into any kind of EM as well. I mean, ball bowlers, puck bowlers, bingos, everything.
Yeah. So that was the basic thing that I had to get going. I know that one of the pop bumper coils had burned out, so I had to replace that. One of the score reel solenoids were I think that was burnt. One was missing and one was burnt out, or one was missing and then the other one was just like locking on. It would just like when it came to, it was on player 2, and it was on player 2 it would just keep going, or no, it would pulse but it wouldn't release.
Right.
Yeah, so that took a little bit of switch adjusting and a little like tracing back and trying to figure out where that was happening. The chime box was just a mess because one of the coils had locked on. And that's the thing. I can see this was my cousin's basement. It was all boys, and I could just see them like a coil, like the pop bumper locking on and being like, "Cool, it's smoking," or like the chime box, the chime, one of the chime solenoids locking on and being like, "And now it's smoking from the door." It's like, whoa, who cares?
Smoke everywhere.
Yeah, so what happened is one of the chime solenoids had locked on and like broken off the chime. There was a big chunk of the box that was missing. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. So I did the chime box, the solenoid for the pop bumper, a lot of switch adjusting, and then I think there was like maybe one or two scoring things. The only thing I have yet to figure out, and it's just going to take time for me to sit down. I was posted this problem to the Grand Prix Owners Club or thread, but the right and left kickout holes. Not only do they collect, not only do they enable you to collect your bonus, but they also score 500 points. So there was something funky going on with the 500 point relay that I've not been able to identify which relay it is. Actually, no, I take that back. I do know which relay it is, but it didn't appear that it was sticking on, so I needed to trace it further back, and I just haven't had time. So just for the time being, I have disconnected that feature. So now all it does is collect your bonus. It'll just collect your bonus, and it doesn't award you 500 points. So that's the only thing that I need to fix still and figure out. But it is but a glance at the schematic away, and luckily the game had the manual and the schematic and everything like that. So I have a nice crisp vintage set that I can look at, and that's the basic.
Makes a huge difference.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So one thing that I will tell you is that game I don't think has a dedicated 500 point relay, if I recall correctly. It's just got a 100-point relay, and then it pulses.
And then it does it 5 times.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, there's some relay that is involved with that process that is on the play. It's on the underside of the play field. When you flip it up, it's over on the right side, and so I can see it actuate, but for some reason it actuates, but then it doesn't release. Okay. And so there's something is not telling it to release. So I don't know if that would be on the scoring motor or if that's in the back box, or I don't know.
Are you certain it's electrical? So,
no.
Okay. Here's
a
test. If you take your finger or a wooden dowel or whatever and try to pull the armature plate back on that relay, see if it's really hard to do and starts to buzz as you move it. And if that's the case, it's probably electrical.
Okay.
If not, then it's magnetized.
Okay. I do know that it's really hard to move because I've tried to manually pull it back.
Okay. All right. While it's locked on, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, listen for the buzzing, and if it buzzes, then it's probably electrical.
Okay.
All right. But if it is magnetized, then that can be hard to diagnose because it looks electrical.
Right.
You have to take the armature plate out and then hit it with a hammer.
Oh, that's right. Give it a good wallop.
Yep. And that rearranges the atoms enough that it stops magnetizing. And there are other tricks too, but
cool.
I guess you'll see.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. And I'm just looking through my thread now, so that way we have more content to talk about. I experimented. Some people would gasp at what I'm about to say, but I experimented with the isopropyl alcohol, 91% isopropyl alcohol, and what are those things called? The sponges.
The magic eraser.
Magic eraser. Yes, I experimented with that technique. It worked. It's magic. Yeah. Now, I do know that I have removed the clear coat from my playfield. I did proceed. At this point, and this came from, I think it was Ryan Clater. He says, and this is a man I trust, mind you. He said, "Don't worry about it. Just wax the heck out of it," which is what I did instead of clear coating it. And so far, I have not noticed anywhere. But then again, I'm only playing a couple games on it, so
right.
Every now and again.
I mean, you'll want to bump it up your wax schedule over normal, probably.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But yeah, it should hold up pretty well. And the other thing is that the artwork on that game is not super complex.
Right, and I could always touch it up or something
if you need to.
Yeah.
So that's good. And what do you think about the inserts on that game?
As to I'll ask you a follow-up question with that. I do know that the bonus select, the left and right bonus select, the inserts were raising, so I used your hairdryer technique to get them out and then reglue them. So as far as inserts go, that's how I dealt with them. Explain more. What do you mean by what do I think about the inserts?
Well, the lit bonus at the start of each ball, it's going to select either the left or right that you collect when you drain.
Yeah.
And there's a huge arrow, and it's all insert, and it's pretty unusual to have an insert that large.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that those are the two that were raised out that I had to take out. Yeah, they're huge. It's like a giant, it's just for visual effect. Number one, just go to IPDB and you can look at it. But it looks like a giant's size. It looks like something that probably came from Hercules. It's that big. Well, and as far because I'm looking at a picture of the machine, and it only has 2 pop bumpers, so I was wrong about that. But it has a significant amount. Now that I'm looking at it, it's got a lot of inserts because you have on the left and right side you have your 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 insert. Then you have your 1, 2, 3, and 4 star inserts. So that's mirrored on the left and right. Then I think it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 in the spinner lane, and then you have your 1000 when lit for that, and then you've got your other select insert for the bonus at the top, which that's the other neat thing at the top when the ball is bouncing back and forth. It's picking which bonus it's going to count up when it goes into the kick out hole at the top. Then you have your extra ball insert, and you got your special when lit insert, and then your shoot again insert. Yeah. So in answer to your question, there are a lot of inserts, and I'm impressed.
Did you have significant cupping on any of your inserts?
Significant, not really. Not really. There's definite cupping on some of the bonus inserts on one side. Not enough that the ball. Sometimes the ball will pause in admiring them, but it never gets stuck there. But it might pause to admire the beauty of the gentle curve of the insert. So not too bad. Not too. I mean, for being in a house full of ruffian boys, I'm very surprised at the condition. Once I got all the dirt off, and there was definitely the traditional ball swirl and things like that. Once I got it all cleaned up, I mean it was in pretty good shape. So I think that's what you get for a game being in a house at least a good portion of its life, or not a good portion, but the last 20 years. So,
yeah, it makes a difference. And if it was running a portion of that also makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, and I think with the inserts, they if it was being operated, it would be on more, so there would be more heat and more opportunity for the inserts to absorb that heat and then do their magic on it. So,
yep. So I've worked on a significant number of Grand Prix for some reason, and it's probably the machine I've worked on the most different number of the same title. And what's interesting to me about it is the way that they laid out the mechanisms underneath the playfield.
Oh yeah, and there are a lot. There are a lot, but one thing which is a criticism that I have of this particular game is that the bonus counters, which are steppers underneath the playfield, it's really pretty trivially easy to damage those. Oh yeah, it's absolutely where they're positioned. I believe they're like pretty close to the front of. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's inches away from the front of the playfield.
Right.
And so you have to be like when you're pulling that out, it's really hard. You have to lift like straight up for a good foot or like 10 inches before you can pull the playfield forward to kind of prop it up. Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy, and I'm looking at them now, and I'll tell you, there's something zen-like about polishing with the Scotch-Brite pad all the contacts on a stepper unit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You get into a rhythm, and you can kind of zone out. And
absolutely.
But, it's always very satisfying when you get to reassemble them and you see how crisp and smooth it is. What did you think about that? Because I know you did a lot of steppers.
I did, yeah. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I followed your process where I disassemble them, polish them up, and then put a light finger coat of super lube on it, I think, and then put it all back together. And they are so shiny and bright. It's blinding under there. So.
Got to be careful where you shine a flashlight now, huh?
That's absolutely, yeah.
So the other issue that I have with this particular game is that underneath in the back of the playfield, they have the stack of relays that they didn't have room for elsewhere. And some of those are super critical to the operation of the game, like the delay relay, which is involved with the spinner.
Right.
And
they're very hard to get at. They're so far back there
to work on, and they're easy to mess up and not even know it. So the one word of advice that I have for you going forward is just, which I'm sure you know if you've been in this game a significant amount of time is just be careful how you lift the playfield, because it's aside from the steppers that are like right at face level. Yeah. There's also all those relays which are easy to clip if you lift at an odd angle or do something funny. Yeah.
Well, it would be just my luck that after let's see here, I've had this game for like 3 or 4 months. So it would just be my luck after 3 or 4 months and like hundreds of lifting and setting the playfield down that I would, tonight I'm like, I'm gonna go look under that hood and then crack everything. So thank you for the word of warning, because you could have very well saved me a restless night. My nights are already restless as it is. And I just looked up the numbers, and probably the reason why you have worked on it more than anyone, or more than some, I should say, is
more than any other machine anyway.
More than any machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause there was 10,554 confirmed units. So that's I don't know for EMs, but it just seems like a pretty decent amount to me.
That's a good number. They sold a lot.
Oh yeah.
There's a reason that Williams was positioned pretty well in the solid state era when they first went in. But yeah. So as far as EMs, you got Teacher's Pet and Ding Dong on the horizon, both of which are Williams titles. Mm-hmm. Do you have any wandering eye for Bally's?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And for that, and let's not forget the Gottlieb. I mean, everybody's got a wandering eye for Gottlieb EMs. You have to. You have to. But as far as a Bally goes, I not too long ago, a Matahari EM slipped through my fingers. So it's definitely, I would say the Matahari is on my radar. I really like that game. But I feel like I want the EM. I don't know what it is. Cause I was, thinking and kind of shopping around, seeing who has a Matahari, solid state around here. And there's a Matahari EM there's a Matahari, solid state that needs, a decent amount of electrical work on it that I could probably get for a pretty good price. However, there's something magical about a Matahari EM that makes me want to get that instead. So, let's see here. Let me think about some of the other. I played Flip Flop was fun. Gosh, I'm trying to remember which one I played. It might have been Flip Flop that I had. Oh, I think probably the most popular one, Fireball. Mm-hmm. Fireball would be on my radar. This is tough. This is like picking your favorite child. So Bally's. I would probably. Let's do Fireball. I would do Fireball. I played a Fireball at the Cleveland Pinball Show a couple months ago, and that is one crazy EM. It's amazing that they did all that. It's multi-ball. It's got a spinning disc. It's got all these it's got this ramp kind of weird thing going on. It's a great game. There's no wonder that was that. Anytime I talk to some of the old timers, when they find out I'm into pinball and this and that, they always say, "Let me know if you come across a Fireball. I would love to have that game," because and I know that even Ricky Schroeder and Silver Spoons had him a Fireball, and I think there was a Fireball in Mr. Belvedere. There was a Fireball featured in Mr. Belvedere. It's a popular game.
Yep,
and for a good reason.
And I will also say there's no wrong answer, but
well, yeah. And so that would probably the Matahari EM would probably be a difficult thing. And that said, I think for as popular as the Fireballs would be, it would be difficult to get. But those would be my Bally choices off the top of my head. I'm sure if I was given an hour, I could find about 100 more. Technically, the only correct answer is all of them. I would like to have all of them.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would, yeah. As far as Gottlieb's go, I've got my eye on a Target Alpha. That is a lot of fun. Maybe an old Chicago.
That's a bally.
Oh, that is a bally. There you go. That's the answer to my bally. You're absolutely right. That is a bally. Let me think. They made an EM version of, what was that? Eye of the Tiger? Sinbad?
Yes,
what is
Sinbad.
That? Yeah, Sinbad, which was, I think the EM version was or the single player version was Eye of the Tigers, maybe? I don't remember.
They made Sinbad in both EM and solid state.
Okay, well then that's, what is, hold on, Eye of the Tiger, I'm cheating.
I think Eye of the Tiger wasn't that a bally too?
No, Eye of the Tiger was a Gottlieb 730 units, so it was a really small production run. And hold on, I'm looking at the back glass. It's like a. I mean, it looks like it looks kind of like a Sinbad. There's like it's not the Sinbad back glass, but it's like, that style, and he's like battling a genie. It's here. I'm gonna go to the notes because I feel like it's based off another game. Hold on. The 4-player EM version of this game is Gottlieb Sinbad. So I was right. You're welcome.
Oh. Well, that's interesting because they also had an EM version of Sinbad itself.
Yeah, I know. That's what. Well, see, this is a 2-player. Eye of the Tiger, or sorry.
Eye of the Tiger's 2-player. Got it.
This is a 2-player version. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why in my head, Eye of the Tiger, Sinbad EM, and then the Sinbad solid state, they're all one. Let me think. I at League a while ago, I've been out of the League loop. I did really well on the Sinbad, and then I think that's probably why it's my heart sings when I see it, as well as the Target Alpha. Oh gosh, you're making me choose again. Let me think. I'm gonna pick one more because did Gottlieb make Yukon? No, that was a Williams.
Correct.
This is great. This is great podcasting. 'Cause I can't seem to find what I'm looking for. That's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Because I'm looking at the wrong company. Because Gottlieb had changed it. Because in '77, Gottlieb. I'm not.
Columbia Pictures.
Yeah, they. So.
Okay.
So again, all of them. But yeah, I would say if there's a Target Alpha out there, and there's more. Is the minute that we end this podcast, I will
You'll
think
of
10
15 more. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one more topic I wanted to talk with you about. You've been over here and you've played a few bingos while I was frantically trying to fix some solid state problems.
Oh yes, that Mario Brothers was smoking. Actually, it wasn't smoking, but yeah.
And he's safely alive now. But
good.
So I wanted to ask what your thoughts were
about the bingos. They are wonderful, and as you know, as somebody who can very easily fall in, I'm just glad that bingos are not alive today, because I probably would easily fallen into the trap of the evil bingo machine universe and spend all my lunch money on them. Because it's fun. I was thinking about them today as I was driving back from Cleveland, so I had a little bit of thought time, and I like them because they're pretty. The games are not super long. They can be, but it's like you shoot and it either falls into a hole or it falls into the return hole and you shoot it again. So it's not your average ball time is not that long. So I kind of like it because you know your results. Mm-hmm. Pretty quickly. So yeah, I dug them. I thought that I want to get more time in them, and I know there was a lot of them up in Ohio recently. That there's a couple other ones that have been for sale, but they're on my radar.
Excellent.
A magic screen or mystic screen or Mystic Lines. All those. I'd love one of those.
excellent. So, did you enjoy the magic screen? Moving and all the moving numbers features and so forth.
I did, but I feel like my brain has yet to really wrap around exactly, because I guess I get it, because it's you have a number of different ways you can make combinations, and if I think it's good. I think it's cool, because if you're aiming for 5 and you end up in 6, you still have a hope of winning if you can switch the numbers around. Mm-hmm. I will probably have to drop in again sometime, because I'm still very confused with all the buttons on the lockdown bar. Like, which one? You were very gracious in like telling me which ones to push, but it's like I don't know why, and it's that weird. I'm sure it'll click, because it's that weird, like when you're going from solid state to an EM, where it's just there's more buttons than what I'm used to. So I'm like, I don't really understand why I'm pushing the green button or the red button or the yellow button, but you said to, so I will.
Yeah, it didn't help that I was trying to fix stuff and wasn't really able to really coach you. But
well, then I blame you.
There you go. I'm happy to accept the blame. So, but yeah, next time you're in town, please let me know. I'd be happy to
absolutely
to show you some bingos. Of course, I've got more now.
Absolutely,
it seems like they multiply.
Yes, I heard a rumor that you're getting rid of all of your solid state except for Mario Brothers. That's the rumor that's floating around the internet.
Well, I will still have Circus.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, Circus, of course.
So
you can't get rid of Circus. It's the best game ever, right?
I stand by that statement.
Yeah, it's it's because I think in your childhood it was hyped up so much, right?
It was, yeah, and so
there's no game better than Circus. You've got it's there's it might as well just had elephants coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there was. You would not believe how much this game was hyped up as far as the sound package. That was.
Right,
kind of the first and biggest disappointment with the game.
Well, and I think about that too, because the big sound doesn't even happen until you get a jackpot or something, right? Or
it'll happen if you go in the return lane or if you finish your game.
Right? Yeah. It doesn't really happen that often.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, I mean, you could have sworn clowns would come out of the back box, and the fanfare would play, peanuts, you smell them as you play, all that kind of stuff. Right. But no, of course that's not.
You can smell the elephant manure.
Well, yeah.
It's a real circus.
Kids are crying,
Yeah. Real circus, there's like cotton candy being spewed out from the corn shoots.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Bingos are fantastic, as you know. I hold that position, and
absolutely, yeah.
I'm glad that you got to experience them. It's unusual to find somebody who is willing to give them a shot. And that's part of why I wanted to start the show is to get people exposed to these,
right?
Because unless you know somebody who's like really way into them, you probably won't run across one that's working. And, of course, that colors your perception, too. There's a bunch of these hunks of junk out there.
Yeah.
But when you play one that's working and you see just how complex they are, I mean, it's really quite fascinating, I think.
Oh, my gosh. And what's the most fascinating part for me is when you lift up the playfield, or like, those things are there's, or for that matter, the back for a visual aid to anybody who has not seen a bingo in person. The back box is like twice as deep because there's like billions of things going on there, and in addition to that, in the cabinet there's billions of other things going on because you've got there's like stepper units galore. It's insane. It's amazing. It scares me how many things are in there, and they all have to work.
In concert. But the nice thing is that the machines are engineered so that they don't die. That's
right. No, that's good. Yeah,
it's really pretty cool and amazing. I think that these machines, which have motors that are in constant rotation, have survived from the 50s all the way to today. It's pretty spectacular. But I won't bingo you to death tonight.
No. I love. So where this question is I'm sure that people are dying to know where does pinball sit in your life now? Like flipper pinball.
Flipper pinball?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, I spend a lot less time playing flipper pinball than I do playing bingo pinball.
Really? I would never have guessed.
I mean, you've probably heard the show, and you know that...
I listen to them all. And I count, I love listening to the bingo episodes, and there's an unending supply of bingos for you to talk about, so it's always very fascinating. But it's so funny because now it's, very rare do you talk about pinball, and usually it's, in passing now.
Well, I have become a bit obsessed here recently, but...
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. I am enjoying certain games, but I tend to limit my flipper time. Of course, I have limited time anyway, to play games. But
you got to prioritize.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I joined a league, and we play flipper games in the league
and you
here.
Get
so I get my fill at the moment.
Good. Well, no, that's that just. You're getting rid of all, and it's good that you're cleansing your palate of all your solid state games for the most part, other than Circus and Mario. But you got to keep the Twinkie and what other flipper games do you have?
I've got Pop a Card and Twinkie, and that's all the flipper games.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, the rest are flipperless.
Well, that's okay. Well, I mean, you've got 4 flippers. That's fine. That's fine. The song that echoes in my head now for the last week or two is that bingo song that you played, that bum, 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 get out that box out of here.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember. What is that song called again?
Thing,
yeah, that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good song.
I agree. I thought it was cool, and the game, it's actually a flipper game. So,
is it?
Yeah. That was one of my brief forays into.
So it's a flipper game, but it's a flipper game, but the song is about a bingo.
No, that song is not about a bingo.
It's not.
No.
That man was sent to hell. I thought it was at least a bingo.
No. It's unknown what was in the box. Could be anything.
Really? Oh, man.
I feel like you might be reading something into this song.
Well.
But, yeah, it's... now, I did do another episode about a song that was relating to bingos. The guy who spent his whole paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But...
I'm going to listen to that song again because you know that I believe that bingos are evil. I still love them, but you've heard me talk countless times about the evils of bingos.
Well, sure.
And I'm going to listen to it again.
Go for it.
I'm gonna have a whole dissertation on it.
Excellent.
About why I think it's a bingo. Because no flipper game would send a man to hell. That's for sure.
Hey. Except Chicago Coins Thing, which is a beautiful game.
Which is a flipper game, yeah. All right. Well,
so
agree to disagree.
All right, okay. Now, if they had made a Thing bingo, that would be great too. So, one other bingo question for you.
Hey, give me 2. That's fine with me.
2 bingo questions? All right.
Sure.
I'll hit you with a twofer. The first one, what do you think of the sounds that a bingo makes while you're playing?
Well, I've definitely fallen in love with the big count. Oh gosh, what is it called? Like what's the sound where that you play at the beginning of your podcast where it's like
that's the search.
Yeah, that's the search.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Because when it's searching, that's like you're gonna win big, right?
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah. There's a lot of thumping, and there's a lot of whirring. So that's I like that. I didn't, I'm trying to think back because when was that? Was like June, so it was definitely a couple months ago. Tell me more about the sounds. I can tell you if I liked it or not. I don't remember other than I don't think that there were any. There's no chimes, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so just it's a lot of mechanical. It's very Wizard of Ozzy in a sense, or like because there's a lot going on in that box and nobody knows what it is.
And you can hear things happening. Right.
Yeah.
You can hear things happening, but you're not sure exactly what's going on.
Right.
I think it adds to the mystery and the fun of the game. But
yeah,
that's my personal feeling. I don't mean to color your judgment.
No, you're not. Believe me, I listen to all your podcasts. You're already coloring my judgment. So.
I don't mean to color it too much. So,
okay.
Well, that's question one. And
good.
Question two, do you think next time you're over, you can wrap one of these meters up to 1,000 replays?
I sure hope so. I was just listening to one of your recent ones where you talked about one of the machines would go up to like 1,800 replays. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it was, but I was trying to do the mental math and I was like, that's a lot of nickels.
It is.
So what does it take to get? So I have to get like a 5 in a row to get it up to 1,000.
So it depends on the machine, and most of them don't actually pay out in the thousands off of one game. So you have to play several,
right?
And you've basically got to be really good. It's not a feat that I can do. So
what you're saying is I have to be really good, and it's something that you can't even do, and you spend a lot more time on bingos. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Excellent. You know, it's good to have a goal. And
yeah.
I think that's quite a challenge. But
good.
Yeah,
I'm up to it.
Never even maxed out one of the 3-digit meters, and those end at 899. So I'm just not very good. That's
well. See, I'm not good at pinball, like flipper pinball. So maybe the problem is I'm really good at bingos, and I just don't play enough.
You didn't know it, right?
If I find out that I'm really good at bingos, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to go back in time.
There you go.
Make my fortune.
Yep. But
one nickel at a time.
Apparently, you have to be careful about winning too much at any one location, from what I've heard.
Oh, well, yeah, they'll kick you out.
Yeah, they get wise.
You know what? I'll just say, I'll just take the machine. Thanks.
Sure, you can pay me, or you could give me the machine. Yep.
Yeah. You're going to give me all the money in there, and then some. So how about you just give me the machine?
I mean, hey, yeah. All right. Well, Adam, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
You are most welcome. It has been a pleasure for me as well.
And is there anything you'd like to promote?
Well, I mean, there's do I want to promote anything? That is a loaded question.
That's why I put it on you.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Well, there are a few secrets that I hold very close at hand for the people who are as obsessed with pinball as I am. I'll leave it at that. As cryptic as it is, I'll leave it at that. If you look hard enough in the pinball world, there's something to discover.
Sounds great. And well, Adam, thanks for your time. And I know life is hectic at the moment.
Whew, sure is.
I appreciate you coming on and talking bingos and Grand Prix. And
yep, it was fun.
I hope you really enjoy that game, and I hope your whole family does, and everybody really gets the EM bug.
Oh yeah. It is definitely a popular game around here.
Excellent. All right, Adam. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. I want to thank my guest, Adam Godfrey, for coming on and talking about bingos and Grand Prix. And thank you very much for listening. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast, and you can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.